Shirley, you had a question then.
How old was Steve McQueen when the movie was made?
You know, I just looked that up tonight while I was watching the picture, because I've had people come up to me and say, well, you know, that's an interesting casting, Robert Preston and Steve McQueen. And it's kind of a little bit of the backstory on the whole picture. So McQueen was born in 1930 in March. And so when you talk about an aging rodeo cowboy, he was playing probably 35, right? And so he was 41 when the picture was made. Steve only lived until 1980. He died very prematurely. And Ida Lupino and Robert Preston, playing his parents, they played older. They were both born in 1918. But they, you know, both, they were all heavy smokers. But Steve played younger. And then Mary Murphy, who played his sister-in-law, she was, you know, if you recognize Mary Murphy, who plays Curly Bonner's wife, she was in The Wild Ones. She was the love interest of Marlon Brando in The Wild Ones. She was actually a few years older than Joe Don Baker. It was one of Joe Don Baker's first films. He was being kind of developed as an actor by Steve McQueen's Solar Productions. It was one of his second pictures, and Steve had a lot to do with him casting. But what was interesting is Sam Peckinpah was 10 years older than my dad, and Steve was 5 years older than my father, and Joe was the producer, was the same age as my dad. But when the script was taken to Steve, he signed on right away. He saw a lot of himself, and there was a lot of he wanted to make that picture. He was coming off of Le Mans, but he really was looking for a picture like this. And Sam Peckinpah signed on as well. And all Sam and my dad and Steve all had different kinds of family life, and they brought their own emotions to the script and to the direction and to the acting. And here we go. So he did play younger.
Yes, ma'am.
You had a question?
Oh, yeah, I was wondering where, I recognized a lot of the locations, but I couldn't figure out where Mrs. Bonner lived.
The corner of Marina and Carlton, across the street from Ruffner Funeral Home.
Here we go.
Yes, say again.
It's the corner of Marina and Carlton, and it's now kind of a real pretty green. It's a kind of a dark green. This was a family that agreed to move out, and they left all their furnishings in. There was very little that the prop people had to put in. They allowed us to use it. We just didn't go upstairs. And we did a lot of blacking, putting a lot of black to make it look old. I'm stuttering here, and I'm sorry, but anyway. And then after it was over.